In the frozen lands of Scandinavia, where the winds howled and the seas roared against the shores, a tale of strength, bravery, and destiny unfolded. This is the saga of Thorvald, a young Viking warrior, whose quest for glory would carve his name into the annals of history. The year was 855 AD, and the Viking Age was in full swing. The people of the north, fierce and unyielding, had begun to explore and conquer lands far beyond their homeland. Longships cut through the waters, bearing warriors eager for riches, renown, and the favor of the gods. Among them was Thorvald, the son of Jorund, a powerful chieftain, and Astrid, a woman whose beauty and wisdom were known throughout the lands. Thorvald was raised on tales of Odin, Thor, and the other gods, who ruled over Asgard, and of the great Vikings who had forged their names in battle. From a young age, he trained in the arts of war, wielding the axe and sword with precision and strength. His father, Jorund, taught him the ways of leadership, while his mother, Astrid, imparted wisdom of the ancient runes and the ways of the seer. One fateful night, a dark omen arrived in the form of a raven that perched on the roof of Jorund's hall. The black bird's eyes seemed to burn with fire, and its cry sent a chill down the spines of those who heard it. In Viking lore, ravens were messengers of Odin, and their presence was often seen as a sign of impending change. Jorund, understanding the omen, gathered his warriors in the great hall. His voice was stern as he addressed them. "The raven has spoken. The gods have called us to war, to bring honor to our name and to claim the riches of the lands beyond the seas. We shall sail westward to the land of the Saxons, where their gold lies unprotected. This is our destiny." Thorvald stood beside his father, his heart swelling with pride. His time had come. With the blessing of Odin and his father's approval, he would embark on his first raid, a journey that would prove his mettle and claim his place among the legends of the North. The Viking longships were marvels of engineering, sleek, fast, and capable of traversing both open seas and shallow rivers. The warriors of Jorund's clan sailed under the banner of the wolf, a symbol of strength and ferocity. Thorvald, standing at the prow of the ship, felt the thrill of the wind in his hair and the salt of the sea in his lungs. The waves crashed against the sides of the ship, and the oarsmen rowed in unison, their rhythm matching the beat of Thorvald's heart. Days passed, and the journey westward continued. But with each passing hour, Thorvald's anticipation grew. The promise of battle, the clashing of swords and the thrill of victory, was a call he could not ignore. His father's voice echoed in his mind. "A true Viking is made in battle. You must prove yourself before the gods." On the sixth day of their journey, the cliffs of the Saxon coast came into view. The land stretched before them, lush and green. But in the distance, the smoke of the Saxon villages rose into the air. It was a land ripe for plunder, and the Vikings knew that this was where their fate would be sealed. The Saxons were unprepared for the ferocity of the Viking raid. The longships arrived at dawn, their sails unfurled and their warriors ready for bloodshed. Thorvald stood alongside his father at the front of the fleet, gripping his axe tightly, his heart pounding with excitement. Jorund gave the signal, and the Vikings leaped from their ships, landing with a thunderous crash on the Saxon shore. The villagers, shocked by the sudden invasion, scrambled to defend themselves, but they were no match for the Viking warriors. Thorvald charged into the fray, his axe cleaving through shields and armor with ease. His strength was unmatched, and his ferocity on the battlefield was a sight to behold. He fought with the fury of a wolf, as though the spirit of Odin himself had entered his body. The Saxons fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. Thorvald, with his keen eyes and swift reflexes, dispatched his enemies one by one. His axe moved like lightning, cutting through the air, and his war cries filled the sky, echoing across the battlefield. As the battle raged, Thorvald found himself face to face with a Saxon leader, a tall and imposing man named Aelfred. The two warriors locked eyes, each recognizing the other as a worthy adversary. With a roar, Aelfred charged at Thorvald, his sword raised high. But Thorvald was faster. He sidestepped the attack, sweeping his axe low and striking Aelfred's legs. The Saxon leader collapsed to the ground. But before Thorvald could strike the final blow, Aelfred looked up with defiance in his eyes. "Kill me, Viking," Aelfred spat. "But know this, your victory will not last. The Saxons will rise again, and your gods will abandon you." Thorvald hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of the leader's words. But then, with a swift motion, he severed Aelfred's head from his body. The Saxons were defeated, and the Vikings claimed victory. After the battle, the Vikings looted the Saxon villages, gathering riches, livestock, and slaves. Thorvald, however, was not interested in gold alone. As he walked through the smoking ruins, he found a small chest hidden beneath the floorboards of a wooden hut. Inside, he discovered a set of ancient Saxon runes, etched into a stone tablet. The runes spoke of a great treasure hidden deep within the Saxon kingdom, a treasure that could bring even greater power to those who possessed it. Thorvald felt a sense of destiny wash over him. The gods had led him to this discovery, and he knew that this treasure would be the key to his future. Returning to the longships, Thorvald told his father of the discovery. Joran nodded, his eyes gleaming with pride. "The gods are with us, my son. This treasure is ours by right. We will sail deeper into Saxon lands and claim it." Thorvald and his father, along with their loyal warriors, set sail once more, journeying further into the heart of Saxon territory. The land grew more hostile, and the resistance from the Saxons became fiercer. But Thorvald was undeterred. With each battle, he grew stronger, and his reputation as a warrior spread far and wide. The treasure, it was said, lay in a sacred temple, deep within a dense forest. It was guarded by fierce creatures and traps set by the ancient Saxon druids. But Thorvald, driven by the will of the gods and the thirst for glory, pressed on. He knew that this treasure would secure his place among the greatest warriors in history. Finally, after weeks of battling through the wilderness, Thorvald and his warriors reached the temple. It stood before them, towering and ancient, its stones covered in moss and ivy. The entrance was guarded by a massive stone door, inscribed with runes that Thorvald had never seen before. Thorvald stepped forward, his mind racing as he deciphered the runes. With a mighty push, he opened the door, and inside, he found a chest filled with gold, jewels, and a sacred artifact, an ancient sword, said to have been forged by the gods themselves. As Thorvald held the sword, he felt a surge of power course through his veins. He knew that this weapon would make him unstoppable, that his name would be remembered for generations to come. With the treasure in hand, Thorvald and his warriors returned to their longships, victorious. Thorvald's name became legend. He returned to his homeland, where he was hailed as a hero, his sword now a symbol of his divine favor. The gods had smiled upon him, and he had proven himself worthy of their blessing. He ruled with wisdom and strength, leading his people into an era of prosperity and conquest. But Thorvald never forgot the lessons of his journey. He knew that glory and treasure were fleeting, but the true strength of a warrior lay in his heart, in his courage, and in his devotion to his gods and his people. And so, Thorvald's saga was written into the stones of time, a tale of bravery, destiny, and the will of the gods. His name would echo through the halls of Valhalla, forever remembered as one of the greatest Vikings to ever sail the seas.